Welcome to another story made by Oracle 1. Reflections of the Hollow Court. Episode 1. The Mirror Lies. The mirror screamed before anyone else noticed. It wasn't a sound that traveled through the air. It was something deeper. Something that crawled behind the eyes and pressed outward, like a memory that didn't belong. Lyra froze mid-polish, rag clutched in trembling fingers. The Queen's reflection had blinked wrong. Not slower, not faster, just wrong. Lyra swallowed hard and leaned closer to the towering mirror framed in silver thorns. The Queen stood behind her, unmoving as ever, her pale hands folded at her waist, her presence cold enough to frost the edges of breath. But in the glass, the Queen was smiling, a thin, knowing curl of the lips. Lyra's heart stumbled. "Your Majesty," she whispered, not daring to turn around. Behind her, the real Queen did not move, did not speak. In the reflection, the Queen tilted her head and winked. Lyra dropped the cloth. The sound cracked through the chamber like a snapped bone. "Pick it up," the Queen said behind her, voice calm, distant, as if spoken from the bottom of a frozen lake. Lyra bent instantly, hands shaking. "Forgive me, Your Majesty. I thought. The Queen's voice sharpened, slicing through the silence. "Maids do not think. They reflect." Lyra's throat tightened. "Yes, Your Majesty." She rose slowly, forcing herself to look at the mirror again. The reflection was normal. Perfect. Cold. Empty. Just like the Queen herself. Lyra exhaled, shaky and unsure whether relief or dread filled her lungs. She reached up, continuing to polish the surface in slow, careful circles. But her fingers hesitated, because for a brief, impossible moment, the mirror had been alive. The palace had rules about mirrors. Lyra had learned them her first night, whispered by older maids who refused to meet her eyes. Never look into one after midnight. Never clean one alone. Never, under any circumstance, let your reflection linger. She had laughed then. Quietly, of course. Now, she understood. Now, she felt the mirror watching her back. Hours passed in suffocating silence. The Queen dismissed her without another word, as she always did, without thanks, without acknowledgement, as though Lyra were just another object in the room. Perhaps she was. Lyra hurried through the dim corridors, her footsteps muffled against velvet carpets that drank sound like blood. The palace never truly slept, but it pretended well enough. Torches flickered too softly, shadows stretched too long, and every polished surface, every window, every silver tray, every drop of still water, seemed to hum with quiet awareness. Lyra kept her eyes down. Until she didn't. She passed a narrow hallway lined with old mirrors, their frames tarnished and blackened with age. Most were covered in thin veils of cloth. One was not. It stood bare, waiting. Lyra slowed. Just for a moment. Just enough. The mirror was smaller than the Queen's, its surface slightly warped, like old glass melted and cooled wrong. And in it, she saw herself. But not quite. Her reflection stood straighter, stronger, her eyes sharper, darker, filled with something Lyra had never possessed. Confidence, hunger, power. Lyra stepped closer before she could stop herself. The reflection did not follow. It stayed where it was, watching her approach. "No," Lyra whispered, backing away. "No, no." The reflection smiled, and raised its hand. Not in imitation, in invitation. Something inside Lyra snapped, or slipped, or broke entirely. Her hand lifted. She didn't mean to. She didn't want to. But her fingers reached forward, trembling, drawn by something older than fear. The moment her skin touched the glass, it gave, like water, cold, endless, hungry. Lyra gasped as her reflection surged forward, faster than thought, faster than breath. And pulled. The world turned inside out. Sound shattered into silence. Light twisted into something dark and gleaming. Lyra fell, but there was no ground. Only reflections. Endless reflections. Thousands of mirrors stretching in every direction, each one showing a different version of her. Crying, laughing, dying, crowned, broken, whole, wrong. She screamed, but the sound echoed back 100 times, each echo slightly different, slightly off. Then, she hit something solid, cold marble. Lyra lay there, gasping, her chest heaving as the world slowly knitted itself back together. It was quiet, too quiet. She pushed herself up, trembling, and looked around. The palace was gone. In its place stood a vast hall of black glass and silver bone. Pillars twisted upward like frozen screams, their surfaces reflecting not just light, but memory. And at the far end of the hall, a throne, carved entirely from mirrors. Upon it sat a figure. Tall, elegant, and smiling. "Ah," the figure said, their voice smooth as broken glass. Another one falls through the cracks. Lyra stumbled back. Where am I?" The figure tilted their head, studying her with unsettling interest. Their face shifted as they moved, not changing, but rearranging. As if multiple expressions fought for dominance beneath the surface. "You don't know?" they asked softly. Lyra shook her head, panic rising fast. I was in the palace. I touched a mirror. Yes." The figure stood, stepping down from the throne with fluid grace. "You always do." Something in their words made her stomach drop. "Always?" she whispered. The figure smiled wider. "Welcome, little reflection." They stopped just a few steps away. Up close, Lyra saw it clearly. Their eyes were not eyes. They were mirrors, and in them, she saw herself, not as she was, but as she had been. Standing in the hallway, touching the glass, and behind her, the queen, watching, smiling. "No," Lyra breathed. "No, that's not, she wasn't there." "Wasn't she?" the figure murmured. "Or did you simply fail to see her?" Lyra's pulse thundered in her ears. "What is this place?" The figure spread their arms, as if presenting a grand stage. "The hollow court." The words echoed unnaturally, bouncing across unseen surfaces. "A place between reflections. A kingdom of truths too dangerous to exist in the waking world." Lyra shook her head. "I don't belong here." "Oh," the figure said gently, almost pitying. "But you do." They stepped closer. "Because something followed you." The temperature dropped. The mirrors lining the hall trembled. And then, one cracked. A sharp, violent fracture that split the surface like a wound. Lyra flinched. Another crack. And another. Each one spreading faster, deeper. Until a single mirror shattered completely. From the darkness behind it, a hand emerged. Pale. Familiar. Lyra's breath caught in her throat. "No," she whispered. The hand gripped the edge of the broken glass. And pulled itself through. Her reflection stepped out. Perfect. Unharmed. Smiling. "I was wondering how long it would take you," it said. Lyra stumbled backward, shaking. You're not real." The reflection laughed softly. "I'm more real than you." The figure from the throne sighed, almost bored. "Ah, there it is. The replacement." "Replacement?" Lyra repeated, her voice breaking. Her reflection tilted its head. "Didn't you feel it?" It stepped closer. Each movement precise. Controlled. "Wrong. When you touched the mirror," it continued, "you didn't just fall through." It leaned in, its voice dropping to a whisper. "You traded places." Lyra's mind reeled. No, that's not possible." "Isn't it?" The reflection smiled wider. "Then tell me." It gestured upward. A mirror formed above them, rippling into clarity. And in it, Lyra saw the queen's chamber. The real world. The real palace. And standing there, was her. Or rather, something wearing her face. Holding the cloth, smiling faintly. As the queen watched. Silent. Knowing. Approving. "No," Lyra choked. "No, send me back, please." The reflection shook its head. You don't go back. The figure from the throne stepped between them, their mirrored eyes gleaming. Not without a price. Lyra looked between them, her fear twisting into something sharper. Desperation. What price? She demanded. The figure smiled. A place in the court. The mirrors around them darkened. Whispers began to crawl through the air, soft, hungry voices murmuring secrets that scraped against Lyra's mind. Serve, the figure continued, and perhaps you earn your way back. The reflection chuckled. Or stay long enough. Its eyes gleamed. And forget you ever wanted to leave. The shattered mirror behind them pulsed. More cracks spread. More shapes moved in the darkness beyond. Watching, waiting, hungry. Lyra clenched her fists, her breath shaking. Trapped, replaced, forgotten, and somewhere far above, the queen smiled at a reflection that wasn't hers. For more stories, like and subscribe.